Hello and welcome to Pearls of Paradise. My name is Courtney and I'm coming to you from Parma, Ohio, where I live with my husband and all of our yarn. Today is Friday, July 21st, and I'm so glad that you're joining me. If you're new here, a big welcome. If you're returning, a huge welcome back. All of my Ravelry, Instagram, email, and Pokemon Go friend code links are down below in the description box, along with links to pretty much everything that I will touch on today. So welcome! I hope you've had a great couple of weeks. I have had an interesting couple of weeks, and I can't wait to share those with you. So let's just get started. Admin. The Kit and Caboodle Cowl, which is a craft along, not just a knit along, not just a crochet along, fiber craft along, is starting August 1st. So we will be casting on before I see you guys next time, which is crazy. It's come up so quickly, and I am really excited about it. I hope you guys have all your kits ready. If you're new here or you don't remember, here is what the Kit and Caboodle Craft Along is. There's only a few rules. First rule, it's a kit along. So anything that is a kit or a set, like an advent set, a project that contains a mini skein set, a kit that you got at a yarn store or whatever, any of those things will count. Things that don't count would be like your random skein of yarn or a sweater quantity that you just bought or something like that. But if it was put together as a kit, we're good to go. If you do not have access to a kit, you could have a friend or family member put together a kit for you from your stash. There are some really affordable kits at a lot of big box craft stores or online. I know a friend of mine was looking at some kits at lionbrand.com, lionbrandyarn.com. If you know, you know. She was looking at some kits that seemed pretty affordable. So there's a lot of options. Take a look, get your kits ready to cast on August 1st. Whips are also welcome though. So if you have a whip that came from a kit, or you just can't wait till August 1st to cast on, or you're hoping to do a massive project, totally fine. Go ahead and cast on now. As long as they're 50% or less completed by the start date of the craft along, that counts. Third rule, it has to be a fiber craft. So cross stitch, embroidery, sewing, knitting, weaving, spinning, rug hooking, punch needle, all of that, crochet, I don't think I said that, all of that counts. Again, things with that don't count. If you're a welder or something, sorry, that's not going to count. Paper crafting, things like that will not count. But if it's a fiber craft, comes from a kit, and is a brand new project or less than 50% completed, join us. I'm super excited. So prizes for that, I added something. So this is exciting, but we'll talk about the two big prizes. So one winner will receive a kit for the Shortcut Cowl by Stephanie Lotvin. And the yarn is all included, as it is in a kit. And that is dyed by Created For You by Laura. So that's prize one. Sorry for the crinkling if that bothers you. And prize two is a kit for the Forget Me Not mitts from the Alpaca Yarn Company. And there's the yarn for that. So one winner will win this, one winner will win this, and both winners will also receive one of these really, oh, you can't see that, my goodness. One of these really cute cross-stitch kits. They are both the same, and I picked up a third one for myself. So there we go. These were just for sale at the store at the campground that my parents camp at. And I thought they were super cute and thought they'd be fun to include. So each winner will get one of these and one of those kits. How do you win? That's such a good question. You can win one of two ways. You can either win by playing on Ravelry and join our Ravelry group. It's linked down below as well. And you can enter in the finished object thread over there, which I will open up on August 1st. There's also a chatter thread, and I would really like to see what you guys are planning to cast on, what kits you've purchased or are considering, or sets. Please let me know over there. Or if that's not an accessible option to you, that's totally fine. Use the hashtag over on Instagram, and I'll put the hashtag somewhere on the screen here right now. Use the hashtag over on Instagram. We will have an FO hashtag, which I will put out on the day of the Cal, August 1st. I'll put something up letting you guys know what that is. But yeah, let me know what you're working on over there. It's going to be so much fun. I am super, super, super excited. This is my first craft along or knit along or anything like that I've ever hosted. So bear with me. It might be a little bit rough because I'm not, this is all new, but everybody has to do this for the first time once, right? So yeah, I'm really excited and I really hope that you'll join me. I think it's fun to hear that some people are trying a brand new craft for this, which I think is super cool. Other people have kits that have been marinating in their stash for a very long time. It's just going to be great and I cannot wait to see what you make. And that will run August 1st of 2023 through October 31st of 2023. So there's lots and lots of time in there. So yeah, that is that. And I did have a giveaway last episode, and I'm going to announce the winner in a little while. But I've already been talking for like more than 5 minutes. It's time to get to the knitting. So finished objects. I have 2 this week. And I have a friend here who would like to help show off my first finished object. This is my buddy Charmander. He is a fire type Pokemon. If you're new here, I am also very into Pokemon, specifically Pokemon Go. And he wants to show off my Charmander socks. They are done and the yarn was dyed, inspired by Charmander. So I thought it would be fun to have him come on and help show those socks off. That way you guys can see. So thanks, Charmander. He's going to go, you know what, we'll put him up there with Stellina right there. Stellina is our mascot for the podcast. She's a flamingo. We love flamingos over here. All right, so let's talk about these socks, which I am not showing well at all. There we go. So, as you can probably tell, they're siblings, not twins. Sort of mismatching stripes do not bother me in the least whatsoever. And I am so pleased with how these turned out. My husband bought me the striped yarn last year, I think last year. And every single stitch has been such a joy to knit on these socks. Like, do you ever have a project like that where the yarn is just, I don't know, everything gels together and it's so utterly enjoyable? That's how I felt with these socks. And I told him that it was just such a wonderful experience. And these stripes were super, super fun. So I can't wait to wear these playing Pokemon Go this fall. It's going to be great. So the main skein, the stripy yarn, is by String Theory Colorworks in their Inertia base. which might also mean it's self-striping. I'm not entirely sure. This is the first time I have used yarn from this dyer. And it is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. There is the ball band if you're interested. And the colorway is Cynops Cyanurus. Cynops Cyanurus. And it was inspired by Charmander. Super cool. The heels, toes, and cuffs are done in Cornbread and Honey's sock yarn in the color gray. I used this in a sweater I knit for my baby niece before she was born earlier this year as the main color, and I had quite a bit left over, so I had enough for heels, toes, and cuffs. And yeah, that's pretty much it for these socks. They're a vanilla sock, just my usual 64 stitches, cuff down, heel, flap, and gusset, slip stitch heel, 2x2 ribbing, toe. Just my usual vanilla sock go-to recipe, my comfort sock recipe, I guess. So yeah, they are done. I am super, super pleased with these. They are amazing. I did weigh what I had left of my yarn, which I don't normally do. I'm not sure why this morning I decided that'd be a good idea, but I did. And I realized I have almost 50 grams left in the main self-striping skein. I think it said 47 grams. And I have like 13 grams left of the gray. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the leftovers yet. I am kind of considering putting the gray in my Cozy Memories blanket as a square because it's already been in 2 projects. And I don't know. I feel like this gray yarn is now tied to a lot of different memories for me and people and things. So it might be nice to have a square of it in my Cozy Memories. But I also feel like I have enough to do heels on another sock or something. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that yet. And I'm not entirely sure what to do with the rest of my self-striping skein either. I'd kind of like to put some of it in Cozy Memories. But I also think it'd be cool if I could do something else with it. 50 grams, I don't think. 47 grams. That's not going to be enough to make a hat, right? But maybe a headband or something? Because how fun would it be to have something that matches my socks and have like a little set? Pokemon set? Ooh, that's an idea. If you know of a good pattern that takes 47 grams or 50 grams-ish of self-striping, that's like a little accessory that's not socks, let me know. That could be really fun. Anyways, these are my Charmander socks. I am so over the moon with them. They are perfect, and I just love them. So, there we go. Finished object number 1. Whew. All right, so finished object number 2 is also a pair of socks that I need to put on sock blockers. So while my sock blockers are changing, let's talk about my experience knitting these next socks. So if you are part of the Instagram or YouTube knitting community, which I guess you probably are if you're watching this, you may know that the Love and Stitches podcast or Knitty Natty over on Instagram, Natalie hosted Sock Week, which I guess this is her 5th annual Sock Week. And I've never heard of it or participated until this year. I found her sort of recently over the past few months or so. And the goal is you set your own personal goal, but basically knit as many socks as you can or want to, adult fingering weight socks, in a week. So I decided to participate. And I decided to do a pair of shorty socks because I work full-time outside of my home. I knew there was no way I could get a pair of full socks done. I could have done one full sock, but I really wanted to get a pair done. So I had leftover Knit Picks Felici fingering in the Aquarium colorway from last year that I used in another sock, which I'm going to show as well. And I had some Knit Pick Stroll in the colorway Pucker left over from my Throwing It Back Shawl by Cozy Up knits that I finished earlier this year. So I decided to combine those and make shorties. And I don't know how it happened because it was a rough sock week. I had 3 migraines. It was just, it was a rough week. But somehow, in spite of it all, I managed to get a full pair of shorties done. I am super, super proud of myself. I made it, even with a little bit of time to spare. So for these, I just kind of did my own thing. I basically modified my regular vanilla sock pattern and did a longer cuff. I wanted them to, I don't know, I just wanted them to have a little bit of a longer cuff. I usually do 15 rounds on my cuff, and I did 20, I think. I think I did 20. So a little bit longer cuff. I did my regular heel flap and gusset with my slip stitch heel. And I did, I believe, 6 rows of leg here in between. And I think they came out super cute. They remind me of watermelon. So this is the Aquarium, the Felici, which I also wanted to use because after doing these, I was in such a self-striping mood. Obviously very stripy here. And this I've wanted to just use up ever since I got it. Like I'm trying to use up leftovers and have less leftovers hanging around, have fewer leftovers. And when I had ordered this yarn for that shawl and I had these two side by side, I knew they needed to be together, right? So these are my little watermelon shorty socks. I think they're really cute. They were really fun. It was kind of an up and down. So my first little down with these socks, I cast the first sock on, let's see, what was the cast on day? July 9th, that Sunday. I cast it on and I was going, and I had maybe a half an inch. And I was like, I don't know why. I don't like this. Why does this look weird? And I had just finished the cuff on my Hermione's Everyday socks, which I'm not showing today. There's not really any progress since last time. But that's a 1x1 rib. And I had just finished that and my brain automatically went to 1x1 rib, which is not what I wanted to do. And I couldn't figure it out. And once I finally figured it out, I debated. I was like, well, I could just do 1x1 rib. And then I thought, no, that's not the look I want for these. So I ripped it out and recast on and did 2x2 and made it maybe halfway through that cuff. Maybe on the first sock, which was actually, this sock was the first one. So cast on day didn't go as planned. And then, like I said, I had multiple migraines last week. It was just a week of like not feeling great. The weather's been up and down. It was just kind of a rough week. Rough week at work. On Monday, so July 10th, my husband's work schedule was kind of off. He was trying to use up PTO, and I managed to forget my glasses at home. I left home at a different time than normal, and I had my sunglasses on, which are prescription. Got to work, didn't have glasses. And that was how I started my work week. It was quite the week. This week has been much better. But anyways, in spite of all of that, all of the trials, I managed to get 2 socks done. And like, I know when I was watching Nitty Natty and her closing ceremonies for Sock Week, there were people who had gotten like 5 socks done or way more. And I think it's really important not to sit here and compare ourselves, because I was like, man, wish I could have knit 5 socks in a week. But for me and my life, that is so not realistic. And to be honest, I don't think I'd want to knit 5 socks in a week. For me personally, I think that would take a lot of the joy out of it. So I'm really, really proud of my little shorties. And I also really would like a break from socks now. So I don't think you guys will be seeing a lot of socks for a minute. It's going to be a little bit before I do another pair of socks. Just because these took a long time. Not a long time, but it was all I really worked on that first week after I podcasted. It was pretty much these and finishing up this. So it'll be a minute before you see any more socks, but I'm really pleased with these and I cannot wait to have them on my feet. I had said I wanted to show you. Now these have been worn. These socks are about a year old, which I think today or tomorrow I have officially been podcasting for a year. Like, this is it. It's so exciting. Anyways, and thank you to everyone who wished me a happy podiversary last episode. It's just been amazing. So these were, I don't know, this might have been my first finished object on the podcast, or if not the first, one of the very first, or maybe I had just finished these before I podcasted. And the reason I'm showing these to you, they're worn. I've worn them a lot. They are clean though. They're clean. They're just worn. This is the same main skein. Also, we are losing light. There's some big clouds moving in. So I apologize. This is the same main skein, that Felici Aquarium colorway. This one I made using the Vanilla Latte Socks pattern, which has this cool little broken rib texture. But I used a totally different heel, toe, and cuff. And I think this is by Un Besito Fibers, I think. And I don't remember the name of the colorway, but it's this very light blue. And I just think it's so interesting. Now, obviously, these have been washed quite a few times. Whoop. But how different they look, just changing out that heel, toe, and cuff contrast color. I feel like these are a little, I don't know, more subdued. And the pink really brings out the brightness. So anyways, I just wanted to share that because I think it's so interesting how the heel, toe, and cuff color plays with the yarn. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but anyway, there we go. Now we're really done with those. Okay, now it's time for works in progress. Let's go with my Cozy Memories blanket, which, if you've been around, has been living in this basket for quite some time. I only got one square done this week. I still have plenty of sock scraps that need to go in. Oop. But we all know how I am with blankets, and it's going to become very apparent later in this episode how I am with blankets. So if you don't know, you will in a minute. All right. So the only square that I did this week is this one. This is the same yarn as my Felici socks, my Sock Week socks, whatever. Knit Picks Felici and the Aquarium colorway. I wanted to use up as much of the yarn as I could, and I did have a little bit left over, so I put it in my Cozy Memories blanket. And I have the tiniest bit left now, like a few yards maybe. So I'm not sure what I'll do with that. My progress keeper is this little Rudolph hot cocoa mug by Simply Serving. And I've just kind of left that on here. It is not Christmas, although Christmas in July is this weekend and we will talk about that. But I don't know, this just says cozy to me. And most of the time, I've been a little bit better lately about pulling this out and working on it. But I get the most work on this done sitting next to the Christmas tree knitting in December. But anyways, this is it. If you haven't seen it, I just like showing it. I think it's fun. I love when people show their scrappy blankets on their podcasts. I just think they're all so cool and unique and pretty. So that's mine. And it's getting big, just not big enough to really be a blanket yet. And I want this to be ginormous. Well, I tell myself now I want it to be ginormous, but we'll see, because I, at some point, may just get tired of it and have it be not ginormous, but we'll see. Anyways, that's my Cozy Memories blanket. There are lots and lots of versions of this blanket. I am using one by Shelley Dupont of, I think, Creek Garden Crafts. I think. She just updated the pattern, though, sort of recently, and I was a little bit disappointed. It's not that the pattern is bad or anything. She has 3 different ways to do this now. 3 different like stitch count kind of things, which is awesome. But none of them are the first version of the pattern. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I am clueless and confused, which is probably the case. But I'm really glad that I had already downloaded the pattern that I'm using to my phone, because I can't figure out how to get the old version on Ravelry. So I'm glad that I still have the old version saved. And I probably need to print it out so I have a hard copy somewhere just in case. But yeah, that kind of bummed me out a little bit because, you know, I'm in the middle of doing one. So anyways, I guess all that to say, make sure you download your patterns in case something like that happens. But it is a really great pattern, and I do like that she's included some other stitch count ideas, because sometimes, like, you know, your scraps are smaller. I think there's a DK version that she included in the update, which sounds very appealing to me, so we'll see. I may do one of those too. So many blanket plans, and I hardly ever finish blankets, but it's fine. It's fine. They give me joy making them, so it's fine. All right, putting this away, Cozy Memories blanket, done. Not done, but done for today. All right, I have one more work in progress. I don't have as much knitting as I normally do because so much of my time went to those shorty socks, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's okay because I did make a lot of progress on this project, and it's been a very long time. I don't know. I have no idea how long it's been since I've shown it. At least a few months. And it's living in a bag that my friend Amy made for me. She no longer makes bags, but she made me this one, and I love it. And inside is a shawl for my husband that he requested. It is the Mammatus by Gabrielle Matthews. And I test knit that pattern for her last year. I don't think I was even done test knitting it. No, I had just finished. And we went to Wild and Woolly, which is a yarn festival here in the county I live in. It's not very far from my house. It's every February. And he bought yarn for me to make one for him. So here is what I have. And there's a story with this. And it's hard to see the shape right now. It is a triangular shawl. It's curling. And I think with blocking, that will help it quite a bit. And it's 3 colors. So it's been so long since I've talked about this. Let's see how much I remember. This is West Yorkshire Spinners, and I think it's DK. it is DK. I don't know the name of the base. Let me see if I have a ball band in here. West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece is the base, and it is 100% British wool blue faced Leicester, which is what I had thought, so that part was right. And it is a DK weight. So the blue, the color is Ravine, I'm pretty sure. Something like Ravine. And the gray was Fossil. And the green, which is what I'm using now, which is my favorite, is Forest. And it's super pretty. So it is 100% woolly wool, which will be interesting. I don't think I've made him anything yet that wasn't superwash, so, or acrylic. So let's talk about it. There are all different stitch pattern sections, and then the yarns fade. I really enjoyed knitting this when I tested it. And so I was excited to knit it again. And I got to about midway through the gray, and my stitch count was way off. I think I've talked about this before. And if I remember correctly, I had ripped back and then started again from where I had ripped back to. And I don't know if I didn't rip back far enough or if I just made the same mistakes, but it was still super wrong. And I just got frustrated and threw it in the bag and put the bag in my whip basket. And it's been there ever since, which I think was a few months ago. I cast this on, we're coming up on a year of this being on my needles. And that's ridiculous for a DK weight shawl. That's not even all that big. So this week I decided, this week I was going to work on my husband's vest, but the pattern has disappeared. No idea where it is. It's in a magazine. I can't find it anywhere. I probably put it away. I did a big tidy a couple of weeks ago, and I have a feeling I put it somewhere I knew I would find it, and I don't know where that is. So I ripped back to where our little mushroom progress keeper is, also from Simply Serving. I ripped all the way back there, which I don't know if you can tell, but basically I got down to the point that the last row of blue is what was on my needles, and knit all and reknit all of this. And I made it to the point that the gray is done and I'm on just the green, which is really exciting. I feel like, and I'm enjoying it. I feel like I needed to get over that hump, and I just didn't want to rip back was pretty much the whole thing. I didn't want to rip back, but I'm so glad I did. So it's coming out really nicely. I am a little bit concerned about the curling. Mine curls a little bit, but this one is curling a lot. I do think with blocking that will help. And I don't want to give away too much because it is a paid for pattern, but the pattern has you do a cable border, I guess, or cable whatever side. And I did that on my test knit, and I loved how it turned out. But for my husband's, I didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do a cable thing. And also, I felt like for him, just garter border might be a better option. I think it's slightly more masculine, just with the way that it is. So a lot of people keep asking how he's going to wear the shawl. And I think there's a little bit of a misconception that a shawl is automatically just a woman's garment. A shawl is literally just a piece of fabric. Like, that's all it is. It's just a piece of fabric. So he's planning to wear it just like a triangular, like bandana style shawl, kind of like this, except it'll actually be, on. So that's how he's planning to wear it, with like a jacket or a coat, basically as a triangular scarf. And I think it's going to be really great. He's super, super excited about it. And yeah, anybody can wear shawls. They're just a piece of fabric that keeps you warm and looks super cool. So there we go. That is the Mammatus by Gabrielle Matthews. And my goal is for this to be a finished object next episode. We will see how it goes because I feel like I make a lot of promises that I don't keep. But it's just knitting, so it's fine. But anyways, there's that. And speaking of promises that we don't keep, I know someone's going to ask, and I did not get any pickles finished before this podcast. No more pickles finished. I should have more next episode, and I had fully intended to have at least one for this episode, but life happened and got in the way. If you're new here, I am knitting 50 pickle ornaments for an order my uncle placed for the company that he works for. So I have 5 or 6 done, I think. And I have 4 that are in process. So by next podcast, I should have quite a bit more done. That's the goal. And I think this time it will happen. The main reason, well, I'll get into the main reason why it didn't happen further in life update stuff. I feel like it's been sprinkled in all over anyway, but the very specific reason and why my best laid plans did not happen with pickle. Anyways, Mammatus shawl, moving on. Actually, you know what? Let's just talk about it because that was my last work in progress. So, pickle time. Pickle talk. Pickle talk. I had fully intended to have a bunch of them done. Like I said, I already talked about why nothing else happened. The first week, sock week, wasn't feeling my best. Just a rough week altogether. And then this week, I don't even know what happened this week, most of the week. But I had decided that last night when I got home from work, we were having leftovers for dinner. And I was going to sit down. I was going to finish the toe on my Charmander sock because I just needed to finish the toe on the second sock, which obviously I did. And I got my ends woven in and everything. So that was great. And I was going to finish a pickle because I have one that 15, 20 minutes of work, it'll be done. And then we had a mega big storm come through. Probably one of the biggest thunderstorms I've seen in a long time, if not the biggest ever. It was crazy. And we had, if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen in my stories, the tree that is right outside of our front window that I love. It's my favorite tree. And I used to, when I podcast, be able to see it outside of my window from where I'm sitting. And I say used to because tragically, the tree came down in the storm last night. So it partially came down over our driveway, and I live in a duplex. My aunt and uncle live on the other side. And thankfully, nobody's car was hit or anything, but the part that fell did need to be moved because our car was in the garage. You know, my husband had to work today, so need to get that out. So he ended up going out and helping my uncle cut off the tree. The good news is it looks like they were able to save half of the tree. I'm not sure how much longer that half is going to last, but fingers crossed, it at least didn't take out the entire tree. But it took out my favorite part of the tree, which is a bummer. But anyways, the storm was huge. Our power went out a few times. We had water come, it was a whole thing. So that was really distracting, and I just didn't get as much. I just didn't get the pickle done. It just didn't happen. But this week it will happen, which leads me into future plans. And I think now is a great time to announce our giveaway winner. Now just seems like a good time. So last episode, I did a giveaway for this Coco Flamingo crochet kit. And my friend, who we're going to refer to as the Flamingo Fairy, donated this very generously to the podcast. So thank you so much, Flamingo Fairy. And the winner is Sally. I think your name is Sally from what I can tell. And I will put a screenshot right here, probably right here, of the winner's YouTube handle. So Sally, if you can reach out to me, either probably message me on Instagram or send me an email to pearlsofparmadice@gmail.com, and I will get this out in the mail to you. Congratulations to Sally. It's going to be really fun. And then you'll have a kit to start for the Kitten Caboodle Craft Along. So, yay! All right. That was fun. So we'll get that off to Sally soon, hopefully. And if you can please contact me before the next podcast, that would be great. If I don't hear from you for a while, we may need to choose new winner. So get on that. Congratulations, Sally. Okay. Let's just go to future plans. Obviously, the craft along is coming up. I need to get pickles done. Before that, though, I just want to briefly mention, because I talked about it a lot last podcast, I will be participating in what is she calling it this year? I think she's calling it Merry Stitchmas Make-Along. Anyways, it's by Marley Bird, and you can go over to her page, to her website, and get all of the details. It's a free make-along. There is a paid course that you can opt into and do, which I've done all of her stocking alongs so far and have loved each and every one of them. So if you are new to stocking making or you just want to elevate your skills, definitely check that out. Marley's an incredible teacher, and she's awesome. She is just awesome. So I am very excited. I am just going to flash my City Tweed DK at you. I kind of went over it. We talked about it a lot last time. There are a bunch of colors in here, and I'm going to get this cast on this weekend. I don't know that I will finish it this weekend, but that's okay. I just love making a new stocking every year for my wall. I think it's super fun, and I can't wait to share what I have next time. So the yarn is Knit Pick City Tweed DK, but honestly, like, if you want to just join in the fun, if you have DK weight yarn, just pull something from stash. If you don't have DK weight yarn, like, make it in worsted or whatever. Like, it'll just be a little bigger. It's no big deal. But you should join. It's going to be super fun. So that's my first future plan. My second future plan is I sat down, I looked at my project page, I looked at my whips, and I think I can get most, if not all, of what's on my needles, not counting blankets. Blankets do not count. Done by the end of the year, I think. Now, granted, I need to knit a ton of pickles. I have friends having babies that I want to knit for. Things come up. Okay. But we'll see. I think it's doable. I think it is doable. We'll see. So that is one potential future plan. And then my other future plans I have been kind of thinking about, letting marinate in my brain lately, are what am I going to cast on for my own craft along? I have several kits that are not knitting, that are embroidery or cross stitch, and I am definitely going to try and get through as many of those as I can, honestly. I would really like to elevate those skills. And the other thing I would like to do, I want to cast on a bunch of blankets. And I know if you've been here a while, you already know I have 1, 2, 3 on my needles right now. 3? For some reason, I'm thinking I have 4, but I can't think of what the 4th one would be. So maybe I only have 3. Well, if I only have 3, then there's no problem, right? So I had talked last time about casting on a quilt, which, like a knit quilt. I think it's called the Beekeeper's quilt, and I, again, cannot remember the name of the designer, but using the Pokemon yarn from last year's Fangirl Fibers Pokemon July Advent or July Countdown, and this year's, because I really wanted a way to use all of that yarn in one large project. So this is last year's. I've already caked up my first one. They're little hexapuffs that you knit and stuff. And this is normal type. So I do want to get this cast on. I have a lot of plans for today, and I don't know. Do you do this where you make a million plans for one day and then realize that apparently a day only is 24 hours, which is not as long as it sounds? I do this all the time. So anyways, these are last year's. This year's I've already started showing, but I'm hoping to get this cast on maybe even today. We'll see. There's a lot I need and want to do today. So that, I want to cast that on. The other blanket that I'm considering casting on would be with the Fangirl Fibers Disney Villains October countdown from last year. And that blanket would be, I think it's called the Spiral Blanket of Awesome or something like that, by Sharon McMahon. And it is available on Ravelry there's a link to it. It's a free pattern, but Sharon doesn't dye or anything anymore. She used to be a dyer. And so it's free, but it's available on the Wayback Machine. Anyways, it's on Ravelry. You can get it there. And I want to use that mini skein set to do that. So we'll see, though. That sounds like a lot of blankets to cast on. I also have some things I need to knit for my brother that, if you watched a few episodes ago, he bought me yarn to knit him some things. My husband has some things that he wants, so I don't know. I have a lot of plans. There's 5 months left in the year. We'll see how much I can get done. And that brings me into stash additions. So, actually, really quick. A few of you commented about the cranes that my husband has been making for the library where I work. And he's made a bunch more, but these are his 2 most recent ones. I think he's made like 80 or 100 now. It's pretty crazy. My library where I work is doing a project where they're trying to get the community to make 1,000 cranes. And it's been really fun. They're hanging all over the library. They look beautiful. They're adding color. It's really cool. And my husband's been very into it. So he's made these origami cranes. And I just wanted to show those off. All right. Now we're into stash additions. We're all over the place this week, but that's okay. So I was visited by the Flamingo Fairy again. My dear friend, the Flamingo Fairy. And she brought me which I am not going to show, but it's a massive bag of stuffing for my pickles. So thank you, Flamingo Fairy. I now have motivation. I now have no excuses. I need to get on those. And she also brought me this, a skein of, that I'm about to drop, a cake of Bernat blanket stripes. And this is the colorway Graphite. And I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with this. So I only have one ball, but I can definitely do something with it. Let's see, how many yards does it have? Does it say? About 220 yards. And it's like a bulky weight yarn. So if you have an idea, let me know. I'd love to hear it. So I got that. And then the next thing I'm going to show is my Fangirl Fibers Pokemon Advent yarns from July 8th up until yesterday, July 20th. I have not opened today's yet. So if you are not keeping up, I don't know how in the world you're managing to avoid spoilers, because I wasn't keeping up for a few days and I was not able easily to avoid spoilers. But if you are not keeping up and you would like to avoid spoilers, here's your spoiler alert. Okay, so I will just show these. July 8th was Dragonite. July 9th is Goomy. And I can kind of get my finger through there. That's easy. There we go. July 10th was Dreepy, which I really like this one. It's really pretty. July 11th, pardon my reach, is Dratini, which I love Dratini. I should have brought my Dratini plushie down. I do have one. I knew I had one more that I wanted to bring down. This is Poison type, which is gorgeous. I love this color. Okay. We'll see how well we can hold those. Okay. You know what? Here. These are the dragon types from this time. We're a couple dragon types in the last one. And then we'll put those back. And then we'll move to poison types. So this is poison type. This is Seviper, which I love this one. Look at those pops of neon yellow. So pretty. This is Nidoran female. Also gorgeous. This one is Grimer, which is also super pretty. Coughing, which is one of my favorite Pokemon. I really like this one. And yep, those are the poison types. Which there, you can kind of see them all together. Okay. And now we are into ghost types, which this purple, there's just no, well, actually it's showing up decently accurate on camera. This purple, oh, I love it. Love it. So pretty. So ghost type. This one is Gengar, which is our buddy right here. This is his yarn. So I figured I would show Gengar with his yarn. And Misdreavus, which is super pretty. I love this like magenta fuchsia kind of color. And yesterday's was Grievard. I'm not as familiar with this one. I think, could be totally wrong. This might be a Paldean Pokemon from the new Scarlet and Violet games. I'm not sure. I know he's in a video game I've played, but it might be Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'm not sure. He's not in Pokemon Go to my knowledge. So these are ghost types. And those are all of my stash additions. So that's pretty much it for the yarn and fiber content portion of the podcast. Life update, I feel like oh wait, there is a future plan, but I guess this is a life update and I'll talk about it in other podcast episodes. So life update, I kind of already went over, but the one thing I didn't tell you guys, my parents got me sewing lessons as a Christmas gift for this coming Christmas. But the lessons are in September. They're offered at one of our local career centers. So I am finally going to learn to sew. Finally. It's a 2-week class. I am really excited. so excited. So stay tuned for that. There will be actual sewing content, not like, well, we hope that this will be the thing that will work. So I'm super excited about that. I don't think there's been any other big life updates. I don't think so. We did go to Sweets and Geeks a couple Sundays ago, and I got an Alice in Wonderland Funko Pop and t-shirt set. So that was exciting. That was fun. I'll have to wear it maybe next time if I remember. And I got Hocus Pocus the game. So I'm holding off on playing that until October. I think that'll be really fun for fall. And we've done a lot of Pokemon Go. You know, I'm really close to leveling up. I only need about 500,000 more points, which sounds like a lot, but it's doable. There are lots of Pokemon Go events and things going on this weekend. Lots of stuff. So I will be doing a lot of that. My brother's coming over tomorrow night, and Sunday we're all gonna Pokemon. And yeah, I think that's it for life updates. Haven't done a lot else. Mostly I've been working on those socks. I have been reading. I did finish my book that had been on my nightstand for a while that I just hadn't had time to read at night. And I'm making that more of a priority right now. So I did finish The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, and I thought it was good. I read it in print, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the twists and the story. I would probably give it a 4-star, 4.5 stars, somewhere in there. I thought it was really good. Really enjoyed it. There were a couple of sort of slow spots, which would be the reason I wouldn't necessarily give it a 5-star, but I really enjoyed it. The other book that I'm now reading, it's my nightstand book, is a nonfiction book, and it is called, it's this one, I Know Who You Are, How an Amateur DNA Sleuth Unmasked the Golden State Killer and Changed Crime Fighting Forever. And I know, light reading before bed, right? But I think it's really, DNA science really interests me. I think especially, did you guys hear that noise? I have no idea what that was. So that was weird. Okay. I am super into, like, genealogy really fascinates me. Genetic science fascinates me. I think it's just very interesting. I am not that science-minded, I guess, sciencey smart. That's not, I don't know. That's not how my brain works. But I find it really interesting. And the author, Barbara Ray Ventnor, I guess she was like, she has background in science and stuff, but she kind of got started and got involved with this side of it by using DNA to help adoptees find their birth families. And I think that's really cool. So I wasn't sure if I would enjoy this or not, but I am really finding it fascinating how she like gets DNA and then reverse engineers family trees. I don't know. I think that's really cool. Really interesting science. So anyways, if that's something you're into, you should check out this book. And it's written a little more, I thought it'd be really dry, but it's not. It's not. Like, she keeps it moving. It's very interesting. So anyways, that's what I currently am reading. I haven't listened to any audiobooks in a while. I listened to one that just did not grab me, and I just haven't, I don't know. I haven't gotten back into it since, which I need to. I need a good audiobook. I need a good audiobook. So that's what I've been reading. We haven't really gone and seen any movies or anything. We had a Lilo and Stitch marathon last Sunday, which was really fun. We watched like 3 Lilo and Stitch movies while I was finishing up my Shorty socks, and that was fun. That was really nice. And right now for shows, we're watching Marvel's Secret Invasion over on Disney Plus. That's been pretty good so far. Yeah, that's about it. I don't think I have a whole lot else to share. Like I said, lots of Pokemon Go will be happening this week. Next weekend, I think I'm getting together with a friend, and I feel like I might have made other plans that I don't remember, which doesn't happen to me very often. So I need to go back and think through what I'm doing next weekend. I'm not entirely sure. And then before I see you next, we'll be casting on for the Kit and Caboodle Craft Along, which if you guys would share about that, I would so appreciate it. Oh, podcasts I've been watching. That was the other thing I wanted to touch on. So, I don't always share podcasts that I enjoy, but I would like to. So other knitting podcasts mostly. I have started watching Happy Little Yarn. Hi, Amy. Amy is from Georgia, and her podcast is really fun. I love her background. Someday I want my podcast area like that kind of a background. And I'm sort of working on a room in my house to be more fun like that. But she has such a cool background. And yeah, she has such an enthusiasm. It's really fun to watch her. And she is trying to get to 1,000 subscribers over on YouTube right now. So please go check her out. I've also been, I watched Trish, who is Tie-Dye Diva and has the Best Day Ever crafting podcast. I watched her episode recently, and which I've been watching her for several years now. I love her podcast. And so I was excited to watch her most recent one. And I'm not sure what else I've been watching. It's just been kind of a whirlwind week. Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady, Nitty Natty of the Love and Stitches podcast, all of that. Lots of stuff. It's been good. But I have lots of plans. I've got Cajun red beans in my crock pot right now. So dinner is taken care of. I have a lot of knitting that I need to go work on. And I need to get this edited and uploaded for you guys. So I'm going to go now. You've listened to me ramble. Thanks for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you spending your time with me every couple of weeks. It's so much fun. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you're working on. Share this video. Give me a like. I would super, super appreciate it. Share about the craft along. And you guys have a great couple of weeks. I hope you find some time to craft in your little corner of paradise. And I will most definitely be over here crafting away, knitting away in my little corner of paradise. I'll see you next time, friends. Bye.